What would happen if Russia and Japan went to war? A European perspective. The idea of a conflict between Russia and Japan might seem far-fetched, but with rising tensions in the Pacific and a history of unresolved disputes, it's a scenario worth exploring. In this video, we'll examine the potential causes, the likely course of such a war, and its global implications, particularly for Europe. Let's begin by briefly understanding the historical roots of this conflict. Historical background. Russia and Japan have a long history of tension, marked by moments of war and uneasy peace. The Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905 was a pivotal moment, ending with Japan's victory and shaking Russia's imperial confidence. Fast forward to World War II, the Soviet Union seized the Kuril Islands, an archipelago Japan still claims as its own. Despite a 1956 declaration to end the state of war, a formal peace treaty has never been signed, leaving the territorial dispute unresolved. This history remains a cornerstone of their strained relations today. For Europe, understanding this historical backdrop is crucial. It illustrates how unresolved territorial disputes can persist for generations, potentially destabilizing entire regions. European powers, having dealt with similar tensions in their histories, have a vested interest in promoting diplomacy to prevent escalation in the Pacific. Modern-day tensions. The Kuril Islands dispute is not just about territory. These islands grant Russia significant fishing rights and access to the Pacific. For Japan, the issue symbolizes national pride and lost territory. Adding to this, Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 strained relations further, with Japan aligning closely with Western sanctions against Russia. Moscow's response was to terminate agreements allowing Japanese citizens to visit the islands, solidifying its hold on the territory. In recent years, Japan's alliance with the US has clashed with Russia's growing partnership with China. These conflicting alliances deepen the divide, with Russia placing Japan on its unfriendly countries list. From a European perspective, these developments highlight the increasing polarization of global politics and the risks of escalating conflicts spilling over into other regions. Europe, already dealing with the consequences of Russia's aggression in Ukraine, would likely face additional challenges if tensions in the Pacific boil over. Increased instability could further strain global supply chains, impacting European economies dependent on trade with Asia. Additionally, the conflict could force Europe to redirect its strategic focus from its eastern borders to broader global issues. Military capabilities, a comparison. Russia's Pacific Fleet is comparatively small, with aging ships and a focus on long-range missile systems. Japan, on the other hand, has a modern navy, including helicopter carriers and advanced submarines, giving it a numerical advantage in the Pacific. However, Russia's nuclear arsenal casts a long shadow over any potential conflict. European nations, acutely aware of the devastation nuclear weapons can cause, would undoubtedly watch such a conflict with grave concern. Japan's military is primarily defensive, designed to protect its islands rather than engage in offensive operations. However, its close ties with the US mean any attack on Japan would likely trigger a strong response from NATO allies, including European nations. For Europe, this underscores the interconnectedness of global alliances and the potential for distant conflicts to draw in Western powers. From a European military standpoint, lessons from NATO's operations could be relevant. Collaborative defense strategies, intelligence sharing, and advanced technology integration would likely influence Japan's approach to defending its territory. Moreover, Europe's focus on multilateralism could serve as a model for mitigating risks in the Indo-Pacific. Geopolitical implications for Europe. A conflict between Russia and Japan would have far-reaching consequences for Europe. Firstly, it could further strain EU-Russia relations, already fraught due to the war in Ukraine. Secondly, it might divert global attention and resources away from European security concerns such as NATO's eastern flank. Additionally, such a war could disrupt trade routes and global markets, impacting Europe's energy security and economic stability. The European Union relies heavily on stable trade routes through the Indo-Pacific. A conflict in this region could lead to shipping disruptions, increasing costs for goods and raw materials. Furthermore, Europe's strategic partnerships with Japan and the US could come under pressure. As Japan modernizes its military and strengthens its role in the Indo-Pacific, European nations may need to reassess their own positions in the region. This could mean greater involvement in Asian security matters, a shift that could redefine Europe's global role. Additionally, Europe's energy security could be impacted. With Russia's actions already threatening Europe's energy supply, further instability in the Pacific could exacerbate these challenges. Diversifying energy sources and strengthening transatlantic partnerships might become even more critical in this context. Why war is unlikely. Despite the tensions, a full-scale war between Russia and Japan remains improbable. Both nations face significant constraints. Japan's military is not structured for offense, and Russia's Far East defenses are limited, as many of its resources are tied up in Ukraine. Moreover, the risk of nuclear escalation acts as a powerful deterrent for both sides. From a European viewpoint, this scenario reinforces the importance of diplomacy and multilateral cooperation. Europe has a vested interest in maintaining stability in Asia, as any conflict could have ripple effects on global security and trade. The European Union, with its emphasis on dialogue and economic partnerships, could play a role in de-escalating tensions and promoting peaceful resolutions. European institutions like the OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, have experience in facilitating dialogue in conflict zones. These mechanisms could be adapted to address tensions in Asia, showcasing Europe's role as a global peace broker. Additionally, encouraging multilateral frameworks in the Indo-Pacific might help to reduce the risk of conflict and foster long-term stability. Conclusion. While the idea of a Russia-Japan war is intriguing, it remains highly unlikely due to the severe consequences it would entail. For Europe, the scenario highlights the importance of global stability and the need for robust alliances to prevent regional disputes from escalating into global crises. What do you think? Could Europe's approach to diplomacy help prevent such conflicts? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for watching.